Welcome, everyone. We appreciate you joining today's webinar for the new advanced daily logging tools in Construction Online. My name is Holly Gibson, and I'll be your host today, joined by my colleagues Drew Arrington.
Hey, nice to be here.
And Tyler Waldo.
Everyone.
So Drew is one of our product specialists here at UDA Technologies. Tyler was our lead software engineer on the Advanced Daily Logging project, and we are excited to have you join us. For those of you who are new to Construction Online, Construction Online is our leading project management platform, trusted by over 950,000 construction professionals all over the world, and really designed to help you run your jobs more profitably and more efficiently by providing estimating, scheduling, and project tracking tools, of course, including daily logging.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in construction, we know that daily logs are very important. It's important to have records of what happened on the job site each day. And this can be important for team communication, reporting to clients, giving them updates on the job. And also, probably most importantly, it increases your protection for liability purposes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something in Construction Online that we have tried to make easier for people as far as being able to capture that information. So, the advantages of using a digital system like Construction Online are that when you make those daily logs, they are not stuck on, in a notebook or on a piece of paper or even just in a notes app on someone's phone. Those are records that you will have access to go back and pull really at any time. You can also do things like add photographs to include that visual documentation. And we've seen it's just a really sort of big bang for your buck tool in Construction Online. It's easy to use, easy to get started with, and probably one of the most used and popular features that we have. Just to give you an idea, about 1,200 logs are created every day using Construction Online, not including over 43,000 weather logs that are automatically logged by the system.
Yeah, so now we'll take a look here at the daily logs within Construction Online. So we're in a specific project here. So just to give you kind of an update on the interface that we've updated, you're going to have your day, month, timeline, and photo stream views. The month timeline and photo stream views are going to be very similar to what you've had before. But if we go back to the day view, you'll see that there's a lot more visibility here. So you can see weather tracking for that day, different hours, the time if the weather had changed, maybe it rained in the morning and then you were able to work in the afternoon. You can see required logs that are required for people to fill out each day. And then you can also see your completed logs on the ones that are done for that day. And then also you have the ability to expand these log details, see what happened there. You can edit them from there as well. And you can also navigate between days. So you'll see that we're actually on yesterday's logs, but we can go easily click of a button with an arrow just to today and see what we have today. We have none today so far, but you can also look at calendar view and click between there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in addition to the update really for the interface here, I know, Tyler, one of the big focuses of the updates that were made to these advanced daily logs were really meant to focus on well, everyone who's joined and listened. We've collected feedback over the years. Of course, so many people are using daily logs. So some of the changes that you'll see within the logs themselves are, there are some small changes, small touches, like as an example, visitor logs can now have more than one visitor or resource attached to it. And then another big focus was that customization.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that daily logging is used differently by our different users. So we've made sure to include an option to customize which log types you want to use. Holly, show us a little more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the first customization options we did was to add an option, and you'll find this in your action menu. So as we jump into some of these, you'll see me come to this action menu over and over again. But when we look at log type visibility, one of the first things that we changed is giving you control over which log types are shown to your team. So the goal of this was really to allow you to use logging your way. So with Construction Online, there are actually now 14, different log types that you can have your team to create, and they all have specific purposes. And some teams are going to use every one of those, but some teams maybe only want to use, half of the logs. So what this does is it allows you to, within these log type visibility settings, choose which types of logs are going to be shown. So maybe here we really are going to use work logs and project notes and delays, but perhaps we want to hide some of these other log types. Maybe we're not going to do deliveries here. We're going to do that on our daily field report. Perhaps we're going to do material and equipment, or maybe that just doesn't apply to this particular, to our organization. So you really have the option to come in and just turn things on and off as needed. That way, when your team logs in and begins working with daily logs, they are going to see just the log types that you have designated for them. A couple of other really nice touches here. One is that you can adjust the order. So maybe I want my daily field report to be up here on top, and then safety logs perhaps to come next. So I can go ahead and, really customize the order that these are in. Another thing that you can do as well, oops, I wasn't scrolled all the way to the top, but you get the idea. We can just move things around as needed. We can also change the color. So if your team likes to use color coding, you can make certain log types different colors just as a visual signal to your team. So we'll just change the shade of that. Go ahead and save those settings. And then when my team begins to create those logs, that's exactly what they're going to see. Now, in addition to this, we have also given you the ability to do additional customization, including create your very own custom log types.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Holly and Tyler both hinted at this, but you can create custom logs, and so for your team to fill out. And so you have multiple different options when creating these. And so we'll go to manage one. Let's go to one we've already created, to the daily field report, and kind of jump into some of the configuration options here. So you'll see that you have names, and you can have sections within those. And within those sections, you'll have subsections, and you can have as many of these as you need to. And so within this, you can you have different options for customization. So you can choose to include text, photos, and even like a yes or no selector. And so that is like, were there any issues on the job site today? You could click yes or no. And so you really have full customization here. You can also enter in default text within that to give a starter for an answer to a question, or like if it, in this example here with issues, if there was an issue, please explain. You can go ahead and note that for your team, and that will be visible for them when they're creating the logs.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and cancel this. This is one that we had already set up. One thing I'll show here at the very top is what you enter in this very first field is going to be what your team sees when they go to create that log. So when we take a look at, what that looks like, we will move on over to today. We have no logs done yet, but we'll go ahead and create one. And let's just choose to do that daily field report. So that's what we named the custom log here. And then I'll click next. And so now all of the questions and sections that we've set up are going to just show here and be available for your team members to fill out. A couple of quick things to note here. So when we were looking at these yes, no selectors, if you choose to include that, those are going to be required. So someone can't save the log unless they answer that. So we'll just go through and fill this out really quick. Did we have any delivery delays or issues? No, none of those. Are we inspection ready? Yes. Changes needed. That doesn't apply here. Under job notes, that's where they can fill out text and even go ahead and add in photographs. So we'll just pull in a couple of pictures here. Of course, those are often being done on the mobile app, and we'll take a look at that later on in today's webinar. For now, I'll just pull those from one of my online file storage areas here. And we'll just grab a couple of pictures really quickly. Just want you guys to have an idea of what that's going to look like on the custom log when those get added in. Now, here I've just asked my team to enter in some notes about work that's completed today. So maybe we'll say continued work on framing. Next up, we want to talk about upcoming work. So whatever's coming up, the next day they can put notes in about that. Did we have any job site visitors? No, not today. And again, coming into these issues, didn't have issues or injuries. Didn't have any delays, but we can also, in the case where maybe we did have a delay, you can have a space for them to enter in more of an explanation or perhaps more of a picture. So you can kind of see, I've also just set up a quick little end of day checklist here at the end to give you an idea of what it looks like. If all you want to do is just ask a question and have that yes, no, that can come in really at any time. So we'll just say, yes, materials are securely stored. Equipment was turned in, labor confirmed, and we have sent the client reports. Gone ahead and done all those things. We'll save the log, and that just gets added to your day view here. And then when we want to view that, of course, we can just pull that up and look at the information here. This also is going to work with different reports within Construction Online as well. Now, in addition to these custom logs, there are also several new log types that were added into Construction Online's logging feature as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So trying to give everybody as much customization as possible. And so within that, we've given 3 new log types, manpower logs, scheduled work for today logs, and scheduled resources logs. And so how these will work, basically we'll hop into a manpower log, and so these are going to give you who worked that day, the hours they worked, the scheduled tasks they may have worked on, obviously any files and photos there as well. And so the good thing about the manpower log is this is just one log that contains all the hours for everyone on the job that day. So you don't have to create multiple logs for different people. You can do it all in one and save your time there. Now we did want to make sure that these hours and these logs didn't only exist within the daily logs, and that they connected to other places in Construction Online. And so Tyler can tell us a little bit more about how that we connect it to other places in Construction Online.
Yeah, so our new manpower log types and the new schedule-based log types, scheduled resources and scheduled work, all include an hours field. And when you go in and enter those values in, and maybe you want to export them, one thing you can do is you can export the hours from all log types that include hours on them.
Yeah, absolutely. So those we have the export available for you, and they're also going to be available in the daily log summary. And so you'll be able to see those hours directly from there. And like Tyler mentioned, there are 2 others, with the manpower logs that work with this. And so the scheduled work for today log, how that one works, it's going to auto pull any scheduled tasks for today's date within that project. And then it'll also pull the resources attached to that task. So you can pull multiple tasks at once and to make logging quicker and easier for your team. And so the scheduled resources log is going to work similar to the scheduled work log. It's going to pull those resources automatically and allows you to log hours, associated tasks, photos, and even so very valuable resource there to use. You can pick who showed, who didn't show. You can even add maybe someone who wasn't already assigned to that. You can add them to the task there and to the log, and type in whoever you need to.
And we'll go ahead and get someone added here. You'll notice, all of these just pulled in automatically. We'll save the log. And then, Tyler, like you mentioned, all of this information is going to integrate with those other areas of visibility. Now, one of the other things that you can do with the new advanced logging tools is, let's say you're looking at these new log types and you're like, wow, I need that every day. We want to make sure that there's a manpower log done, every single day. There is a new tool that is going to also allow you to set up required logs. So this could be really, of course, any log type. It could be a custom log that you've created. It could be some of the existing log types. But the idea really here is for you to be able to set expectations and standards for your team. Go ahead and decide what you want to see from a logging perspective. That's going to be located here under required logs and reminders. So one quick note is that you can still set up logging reminders for your team members the same way you've always been able to do that. What the required logs do is add an additional layer on so that you can set up specific log types that are required for them and even receive an email notification if those required logs are not done by a certain time in the day. So let's just say, as an example, that we want a daily field report and a manpower log to be completed every day. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't use some of the other log types. Team members could still enter project notes or safety logs, but we want to make sure that we set the expectation that these two must be done on a daily basis. And we'll go ahead and activate this email notification just to let us know, hey, if these don't get done by, let's just say 6 p.m., maybe we'll go ahead and pick a time. I want to receive an email so that I know if my team is on track or if maybe they are not on track with their daily logs. So one thing that I want to show you is when we save this, you will now notice that the required logs section on my screen here becomes more visible. So any of your team members who are going in to create logs, or if you're coming in maybe to check on it, or you're able to see at a glance how many required logs have been created. When your team starts to create logs here, they can actually see this required column. Was this log required? Yes or no, and whether or not it's been done. So that's, again, bringing that visibility just all throughout the creation process. One other really nice thing that you can do once you've set those log requirements is travel to your month view here. So just one quick click. And so now you'll notice my month view has changed. Instead of just being a blank calendar, this is going to populate the required logs that I've chosen. I can see those listed here for every day. And once those start to become filled in, they do change visually. So the indicators for those fill in and become solid colors there instead of outline. So again, you can go in very quickly at a glance and see for this project, how often are those required logs being done? Do we have any gaps in information that maybe I need to go back and ask someone about? And then those are also going to show up on reports as well as emails that are sent out of the system. You can choose to include a required log summary that will give you just like a quick recap of what logs were required and which ones did or did not get done.
Yeah, so another along the lines of the visibility with that would be this new complete and distribute feature within Construction Online. And so you'll see this on the right hand of the screen here. The most common use for this would be like a superintendent or project manager. They can review all of the logs that have been created for that day. And then with the click of a button, and then they can even do a signature, they can send an email summary to appropriate parties. And so this is an easy, simple one-step distribution system here. And so that lets them verify completion, sign digitally, and even send out the email to whoever needs to know, whether that be whoever it needs to be, really. Anybody up in the home office, owner of the business, however you want it to be. They can click whoever internal recipients, external recipients, so they can be like a client or even subcontractors. and then they can choose which log types to include within that report. So once it's done, we can look and see what the email would look like if you were receiving this complete and distribute email. So you'll see that it has a daily logs report. You can see that Holly Gibson marks these logs as complete and signed them. You can also see the required log summary. So this will quickly show you if, like those required logs that Holly was talking about, if one is missing, if it was created, and who created the one that, who created it, or maybe who needed to create it. So very valuable tool there to have visibility for your whole team on the daily log.
And then, of course, the actual, PDF is included as well.
Yep.
One quick note about that complete and distribute option is that when, if you're choosing to use this, one thing to know is that once the day has been marked as complete, it is locked down. So if users, go back and maybe try to add a log to that specific date, they are going to receive a message that just says, hey, this day is actually already complete. Now, admins or those with appropriate permissions can revert that day's completion if needed. But the idea here would really be to just kind of make sure that, like, once the records were done for that day and had been distributed out, especially if you're sending those to clients, that new information is not being added, without your awareness. So it does go ahead and lock those down.
Yeah, absolutely. So we also know that daily logging is used from everywhere. It's like Holly said earlier, it's one of our most used features. And so we know that means people do use it from laptops, iPads in the field, and even from the mobile app. And so Tyler was really key in helping make sure that daily logs not only work on computers, but in other places in the system. So, Tyler, could you tell us a little bit more about that optimization process?
Sure. So exactly like Drew said, we know that daily logging is not just used from a desktop environment, it's also used on iPads and laptops and touchscreens. So during the development process, I just made sure that whenever you're on a smaller screen size or you're using a touch screen, everything is working exactly as it needs to. And our wonderful quality assurance team was also key in making sure that this was the case. Along with that, we know that you may want to be able to create logs from the mobile app. So, Holly, tell us a little bit more about how our new features have been implemented on the mobile app.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to ask everyone to just bear with me for a moment. I'm going to get my phone connected to this Zoom meeting. It seems to be giving us a little trouble here. But I think that we are connected. So what I'm going to do is actually switch over and share from my phone screen now. So just to give you an idea of what it is going to look like when you are using these new logging tools from a mobile device. And we know that that is, one of the most common use cases really for daily logs is to enter them on from a phone, from an iPad. And so, of course, Tyler, like you mentioned, just did great work in optimizing that for that iPad experience. We'll go ahead and share that, but it was also added into the official Construction Online mobile app as well. So we'll go ahead and pull that up here. All right, so now that we are logged into the mobile app, I just want to show really quickly how the things that we have already talked about today are going to show on the mobile device. So if we just jump into our daily logs, we're looking at the exact same project that we've been looking at online, that 587 Weatherford. And you can see that when I'm looking from the mobile app, I can see for today and yesterday, the logs that have been entered. You'll notice those blue indicators that say 2 of 2. That's just letting me know that I had 2 logs required for that day, and both of those have been done. Right beside that indicator, you'll also notice that for today's date, there's the little green check mark. That's really just letting me know that that date has in fact been completed. And you'll notice that on that day, again, the option to add new logs is no longer there. Now I can go in and of course look at any of these logs on the mobile device, including the custom logs. And so if we wanted to add, let's just say a new one for and maybe we'll add one for a day earlier this week since we won't be able to add one for today. But let's go in and we'll just pull maybe our um, daily field report here. So that was our new custom log that we made. You'll notice the information is really all the same. So it does look a little bit different, just optimized for a mobile device, but we're able to come in and say, okay, let's just pick, maybe this was going to be for Monday. Maybe we did have a delivery issue that day. So we had materials not delivered. It does work really nicely with tools already built into your phone. So if we wanted, you notice with that, it's correcting my spelling as I go along. If we wanted to use it to talk about like work that was done on that day, it is going to work with like your talk to text that's just built into, your iPhone or your Android device. So it's compatible with all of that. We would just go through and fill this information out, same as we did, online, but just doing that more so on the phone. You can see that it's really friendly to go through and use. We try to look at things like, even details like the size of the buttons or the area that you're putting text in, just to make sure that it's friendly and going to be really compatible there for your team. Let's go ahead and finish this one. And you'll notice we have the little required indicators here as well. And then we'll just create this log. And now that, got added for Monday. And if we wanted to go back and view it, we can see that here. You'll also notice just a couple of small touches that I'll point out. And I think these are the things that really do make it, exceptionally user friendly. But, as you're setting your log type visibility, the order of your logs, those are going to be reflected in the mobile app as well. So if you're really looking for an easy way to get your team started and you want to go in and just have, 2 or 3 different log types available to them. So maybe it's a little less overwhelming or a little more, just clear and friendly as to what you want them to do. You, as an admin, you can make those settings online, and then your team members, when they go into the app, are going to see only the log types that you've set for them. They're going to be in the order that you set. So everything is going to be, consistent and just ready for them to jump in and start using. Now we'll go ahead and switch over. We wanted to just give you a sneak peek there of the mobile app since we know so many of you are using it there. Another thing that people need to do really commonly with the information that they're putting into these daily logs is go ahead and pull that information out and create some sort of report for those. So let's go ahead and switch back over and take a look at some of the updates on the reporting side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we updated all of our reports and created new reports. So we have 4 new reports. Tyler, can you tell us a little bit about some of those new ones and updates?
Yeah, so we've got 15 log reports in total, and that includes 4 new reports. So those are going to be 3 reports for the new log types, manpower, scheduled work, scheduled resources, and 1 for your custom logs that you add into the system. And all of the existing log types have been, all of their reports have been optimized for readability and just a better layout, making sure that you can at a glance see all the information that you need to see.
Yeah, so and speaking of those new reports that we have, we're going to take a quick look at a couple of the new ones. So we can take a look at the custom log report. And so this is going to pull that daily field report that we created today. And you can see that the report on this log, every answer that was submitted with the log, and everything that was uploaded. And then also too, we'll take a quick look at what the manpower report or manpower log report will look like. And so you'll see that we have our different workers here, how many hours they worked. You can see trade options, cost impact too as well. Anything you really need there. The scheduled task that's also related to it. So really quick and easy to see that visibly with some of those new reports.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Tyler mentioned, all of the reports have been optimized. You'll notice on the custom log report, like even with that one, you can still pull in that automated weather tracking data. So we've worked hard to make sure that not only is it easy for you to get your information in, but it's also easy to pull that information out, which those reports are going to be great for internal record keeping, but also really are designed to look really good, be available to present to your clients if that's something that you need to do, or other stakeholders or interested parties in the project. So a lot that you can do there. So we are a couple of minutes past the 30-minute mark here. We had a lot of information to cover today, and we want to just thank everyone for taking time out of your workday to join us here and learn about these new tools in daily logging. A couple of questions that have come in, several of you have asked really about where to find the recording, if the recording is going to be available. So I wanted to just pull that up real quick in closing. The recording will be emailed out. And then all of the recordings are going to be available as well. If you just go to our website, ConstructionOnline.com, under the resources tab, there is a tab for videos, and recorded on-demand webinars are available. So currently you can go back and watch webinars that we did recently for on-cost purchasing, as well as focus on estimating. As soon as the recording of today's session is available, it will go there. I do see a few other questions that have been submitted. Since we are out of time, I do just want to assure everyone that if you have submitted a question today, we will just reach out to you personally and follow up on that after the webinar to make sure that you're getting the information you need. But again, just thank you so much for joining. I think that wraps us up for today.